So I was looking at an interesting article. It was talking about comic books, specifically comic books. And it was saying one of the reasons why comic books don't use God that much is that when you have these fantastic characters like Superman, Wonder Woman, Incredible Hulk, or Silver Surfer or something, or Thanos, God ain't that interesting. Like, you got these fantastic powers and abilities, putting God in there wouldn't be that interesting. Now, here's the thing. I disagree. Because when you sit back and you think about all these superpowered characters, one of the most popular comic book characters that has ever lived is Batman. Okay? Batman has no superpowers. All right? He has like peak human strength from training. He trains extensively. Okay? He has gadgets and equipment. He's filthy rich. So he has all his gadgets, all this equipment and stuff like that. Well, he doesn't have any superpowers or super abilities. Okay, and he is one of the most popular comic book characters probably that has ever lived. But then you have others like Black Widow, Hawkeye, Green Arrow, and so many more. Blue Beetle, I think. That these characters don't have any superpowers. They just have training and equipment and things like that. Okay, and these characters are all popular. So I don't know. I don't really buy that explanation. And that's, if you really think about it, let's examine what abilities God had in the Bible. Now, let me be clear about something though. I'm going to look at the New Testament and the Old Testament. Now, a lot of Christians believe, and people believe, that Jesus, God, and the Holy Spirit are basically one being, one God, in three different sections, three different parts of one God. So I will be examining the Old Testament as well. And basically God mirrors the way human beings are made, or human beings mirror the way God are made, because many Christians believe that human beings are three elements. You have the body, you have the soul or spirit or whatever, and you have the consciousness. Some people say body, soul, and spirit. Some people say body, soul, and consciousness. Whatever. You have three elements to you. So God has three elements. Now, Jesus walked on water. So he has telekinetic abilities. You tell me you can't do an interesting story with that? Jesus was able to heal people. Okay? He healed people all throughout the Bible. All type of sicknesses, all type of illnesses. He healed them. Okay. Healed people from all type of injuries and diseases and sicknesses. Hey man, that sounds like a cool power to me for a cool character, right? Jesus was able to talk about certain events that would happen in the Bible in the future. Okay. He mentioned a number of events that would happen in the future. So you could say he was clairvoyant. He could see the future. That sounds like an interesting ability to me. There was much more. There was a lot more. The fig tree. At one point, he's telling his apostles about something, and he's talking about this fig tree. And the fig tree, he made the fig tree wither away and die, basically. Okay? Well, dude. That sounds like a very incredible power there, okay? To have the power to essentially make something die, just wither away, okay? Now, he can do that to the fig tree. You assume he can also do that to human beings or animals or anything else, okay? He had the power to cast out demons. They ran across one man. He was this wild, crazy guy who had broke chains. People had tried to bind him with chains. He broke the chains. And he had went out in the mountains and been cutting himself. Nobody could deal with him. Jesus cast the demons out of this guy. Okay. So he had power over demonic beings. He could cast out demons. Yeah. That's an incredible ability, right? Jesus brought somebody back from death, Lazarus. He is said to have brought Lazarus back from the dead. Now, dude, I don't know about you. That's an incredible power or ability to have to bring people back from death. All right. Jesus is said to have come back from death himself. After being crucified on a cross, he came back to life himself. The book of Revelations talks about Jesus Christ. He's going to come back. And it's talking about him being in a whole different form. Like a whole different form. You can read in the book of Revelation of how it describes him. Okay. I mean, dude, that sounds like a whole new form of power. Kind of like, how you got, I'm not trying to be funny here, but you got like Super Saiyan and Dragon Ball Z. You got all these beings who can transform into another form. Okay. I assume that in this later on in the book of Revelations, in this different form, Jesus has more power, is going to manifest more powers and abilities that he has in his standard form. Okay. In the Old Testament, there was a group of children harassing an apostle of God. And God sent a bear to go eat those kids. So, Jesus also has the ability to control animals. All right. There was another apostle of God, a group of men, I think it was 50 men, went there to go attack this dude, and fire came down and burned those dudes alive. Okay. So Jesus also must have control over fire to be able to make fire appear and use fire to attack people if he wants to. Okay. I mean, dude, those are some incredible abilities if you think about it. Plagues. God put plagues on his people at one point because they were sinning and backsliding. He put plagues on them. Jesus has that power to do that. I guess to put plagues on people and also to remove plagues. If you want to get down to it, let's also talk about the, it was mentioned that God turned water into blood, made blood appear in water. Okay, all these different plagues he put on Egypt. Okay, the locust, the firstborn dying, all the firstborn children dying. Okay, they had to go up there and put a sign on their door. I think it was blood, lamb's blood, or some type of sign on their door, and the angel of death or whatever would go past. Okay, so Jesus would have those abilities as well. All those different plagues that God put on Egypt. Now, also, Jesus has a legion of angels. What does Satan tell him when Satan is trying to tempt him in the wilderness, I believe? He tells Jesus something to the extent of, cast yourself down or something. Doesn't God say that if you stumble on a rock, he'll send all his angels to come protect you or something like that? Okay. When Jesus is about to be crucified, he says, even now, I could call like my Father for a legion of angels, and he would send them. Okay. Well, Jesus has a large, massive army. And the thing about these angels, man, you don't know how strong or how powerful these angels are. The way the Bible describes some of these angels in the book of Revelation, some of these dudes sound like they could get down. You know what I'm saying? We talking about Superman level powers of strength or beyond. You know what I'm saying? So you're telling me you can't do an interesting story with all of that? All these powers and abilities? I'll tell you something. You look at a character like Superman, all right? Now, what hurt Superman? Kryptonite hurt Superman, all right? You have different types of kryptonite. Also, if you're a fan of comic books, not just the movies or TV shows he's been in, you'll know he has some other weaknesses. He also can be hurt by a red sun. Okay, now a red sun, I think it's this, I don't know, a red sun, he loses his powers. The reason why Superman has the powers that he has is that he's an alien and being in our atmosphere with a yellow sun affects him different. Okay. Also, Superman has a weakness to magic. But now, there's one other thing that can weaken Superman. And a lot of fans may not notice. There's a comic book story, I think it was done by Brian Michael Bendis, and I actually like this story. Superman goes to an alien world, and this world is about to be destroyed just like how Krypton was about to be destroyed. He goes there to try and save them. And he's telling these people, look, the world is about to be destroyed. Let me take you with me, right? And like, yeah, dude, we know. That's part of our religion. We're not going anywhere. So Superman gets up and says, hey, I respect other people's religion, but I'm going to save you despite your religion. I'm sorry. You'll hate me, you'll dislike me, but I have to do this, okay? Now, the thing is, though, Superman can't overcome these people. The power of their religious faith is so strong that it actually weakens Superman's abilities, that about maybe a crowd of them can actually fight him off. And at the end, they let Superman leave and they say, hey, look, man, we're not going to hold it against you. We understand in your heart you were trying to do what you thought was right, but you have to respect these are our lives and this is our religion, and if we die, we die, So now, when it comes down to faith, if these beings were able to weaken Superman to that extent, how much more could Jesus do to him with his faith, his great faith? Also, let's take the Green Lanterns. Their whole powers are based off of mental concentration and stuff, okay? Now, you're telling me when it comes to concentration, is there any being who has more concentration than Jesus Christ? No. But anyways, man, to make a long story short, you could easily do an awesome story about Jesus Christ. It easily would fit into a comic book world if you wanted to. And it's not his abilities are uninteresting when compared to all these other characters. That's not the case. I've actually seen some interesting situations where comic books or animated stuff has mentioned him. I was watching this animated X-Men comic book, and Kitty Pryde was teaching a group of students. And they asked him, hey, who was the first mutant? And I believe they said, she ended up saying Submariner. But a bunch of the kids, I think, said Jesus. And you know what, dude? Right there, that's your interesting story. What if you said that Jesus was the first mutant? Okay. In this fictional comic book world, wouldn't that have been interesting if Jesus actually was the first mutant? Dude, I think that would be a very interesting story if you found out that Jesus in X-Men comic books was the first mutant and he had those powers, and all these human beings had actually been worshiping a mutant who they hate mutants, but they've been worshiping a mutant. But anyways, man, the reason why I think there's two reasons why people in comic books or other forms of media don't really want to use Jesus as much in their stories. First of all, you run the risk of offending people. A lot of people based off how you put Jesus, how you would portray Jesus in a storyline. Okay. You can't do anything blasphemous or have him drinking, smoking, or doing drugs or having sex with women, anybody, honestly, you couldn't do that. So you run the risk of offending people, okay? Then that would very much, if you used him as a character, it would very much limit what you could do with him as a character. You'd have to be, it would limit it, okay? It would be very limiting for a lot of people. But also, one of the biggest reasons is a lot of people in the entertainment industry don't like Jesus, okay? They hate Jesus. Now, I know somebody, hey, man, Jesus don't exist, he ain't real. Okay, look, dude, for the sake of argument, if you watch this video this long, you probably do believe in Jesus Christ. But let's say you don't, okay? These people don't like the concept of Jesus, okay? They don't like what he stands for. They don't like Christianity. Some of them don't like religion, period, any religion, okay? And they don't like the concept of Jesus or what he stands for, and they hate him, okay? And you can't hate a concept, okay? Whether you think he's a real being or not, you can't hate a concept. That's the main reason why I think a lot of people don't put him in stories is the risk of offending people. You would have to be very limited with what you can do with him. And also the main thing is that they actually hate him. They hate Jesus Christ. Okay. They hate what he stands for. They hate the concept of Jesus Christ. And they hate any type of system or structure. That's another thing. A lot of people hate system. A lot of people hate structure. They hate a Bible. They hate the Bible because a lot of what religion is about is a form of structure, or a bunch of rules, or a way of life, or a belief system. Okay, that says this, hey, you can do this, but you can't do that. This form of thinking is right. That form of thinking is wrong. They don't like that. They hate Jesus, man. So that's why they don't put him in a lot of different comic book storylines, okay, like that. But I think, actually, I would use Jesus, man, if I was a comic book writer. Just that story alone, in the X-Men, where she's asking these kids, hey, who was the first mutant? And Kitty Pryde said, hey, don't say Jesus. When some of the kids said Jesus, no, not Jesus. And it was Jesus and somebody else. I don't remember who the other person was. Dude, if I was a comic book writer, I would write that story, okay? I would make Jesus the first mutant. And you would find all these people who hate mutants. Well, hey, you worshiped a mutant. Okay. I mean, I don't know, man. Just thinking about it. I thought it was an interesting article I read. And I would like to see Jesus in more storylines. I mean, maybe some other people might disagree, but I think that would be very interesting. Okay. Because at the end of the day, whether you believe in the Bible or not, whether you believe in religion or not, it's still very fascinating. There's a lot of the Bible, the Book of Enoch. There's other religious books talking about angels and stuff, man. A lot of this stuff is very fascinating. You don't have to even believe in this stuff to find it. You don't have to believe in it to find it interesting.